There's been a lot of press in the last month about November 1 being the last date you can opt out, and I want you to share with our viewers what that means, because it's become obvious to me that there's some confusion about whether the opt-out date is the end of the claims period. Our viewers heard me talk about a few minutes ago that you can file a claim up through the middle of April 2014, but I want to make sure we dispel any misinformation about what the opt-out period was and whether it affects the ability to file a claim.
Yeah, all the opt-out does is that's people that say, I don't want to be involved in the class settlement. I want to litigate my claim. I want to go to trial in 2020 or whenever they get to trial. That's what the opt-out is. And so that's for people to say, I reject the settlement. I don't want it. Everybody else that didn't reject it, they're in it. And they have until the earliest, April of 2014, to file a claim, unless you're in the seafood program. If you're in the seafood compensation program, which is basically your fishermen, deckhands, they have till 30 days after final approval, and there's reasons for that having to do with the way that money's allocated. That's a guaranteed fund of money, unlike everything else, which is an uncapped fund. But that's the opt-out date. It really has no bearing on the ability to file a claim and the timing of filing a claim, other than the fact if you file one, you've excluded yourself. But the court did just recently enter an order allowing people to revoke their opt-out and come back in by mid-December. So if you have filed an opt-out and you're having second thoughts and you want to figure out, maybe I don't want to wait 6-7 years to try my case. Maybe I'd like to go ahead and get recovery now and start to put all this behind me. You have until, I think it's December 15, to revoke your opt-out and come back into the settlement.
It's very important. So if I understand correctly, then if you did not opt out by November 1, you are in this settlement. This settlement becomes then the only mechanism to obtain compensation from the BP oil spill. And so I just want everybody to know, because there has been misinformation, so much press about the opt-out period. There are people thinking that, well, as of November 1, it's over. That is not the case. That was simply, as Brian said, the date by which you needed to get out of this settlement if you wanted to go to court. You have plenty of time to file a claim in the settlement, and so it's very important that you avail yourself of this opportunity to at least find out whether you have a claim. So for kind of review purposes, you've got 4 zones in the state of Alabama. Zone A, closest to the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, where if you can calculate a loss for 2010, that loss, no matter whether you're a tourism business, a non-tourism business, is presumed to be caused by the spill. Zone B, those couple of areas that you pointed out, near the coast but landward of Zone A, you have an economic test. If you are a non-tourist related business, if you're a tourist related business and can calculate a loss for 2010, that loss is presumed.
That's right. If you're tourist in Zone B, it's a presumed
right.
loss.
If you're not tourist, then you've got to pass the same economic test as Brian enunciated for Zone C. Then if you move landward of Zone B, this is now the land and property south of Interstate 10 that is not Zone B or A, you're in Zone C. You've got to pass that economic test that Brian talked about, down 8.5%, back up 5%. If you can pass that test, you have met causation, and you can go to the calculation of damage. And then for the balance of the state of Alabama, Zone D, that is the land lying north of Interstate 10 up to the northern borders of the state, if you can calculate the economic test by down 15%, up 10%, then you are by negotiation in the settlement and can calculate a loss. So folks in Alabama have tremendous opportunities, it seems to me, to calculate damage under this spill, whether or not they have questions about what really caused their problems. So I think it's very, very important that citizens of the state of Alabama, people who live in Alabama, people who work in Alabama, make yourselves aware of what this settlement may offer you and have your case evaluated.